Hello and welcome to a look at the week ahead through Vedic astrology. This week ahead forecast focusing on the solar eclipse in Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra that's going to take place in the UK at 1:54 a.m. You can go on to timeanddate.com and see where that is likely to take place in your particular time zone. Usually with this forecast, I focus on several different aspects, and I'm going to touch on a few, but we're going to make the focus on the solar eclipse because eclipses are very powerful time frames. Now, a lot of times people fear eclipses. But a lot of times people fear change. Just like, on many levels, we, fear our own death, right? We like things that are familiar on many levels, but eclipses don't always allow us that sense of familiarity, right? And just briefly, let's kind of touch on, what happens with an eclipse. In order to do that, we'll need to talk about the nodes just briefly. I've been doing a series on those if you're an astrology enthusiast. There's a link below if you want to check that out. But also what I wanted to say is what the nodes actually are is they're shadow points. They're the points that create eclipses. And the path of the moon and the path of the sun in relation to the earth, and I should say the apparent path, meaning how they appear to us, the planes of those two paths are off a little bit. And on the moon's journey north, the moon will cross the plane of the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun. And on the moon's journey south, it will cross the plane of the ecliptic again, and that's where the south node is. So where the moon crosses the ecliptic on its journey north, that's where we have the north node, or Rahu. On its journey south, that's where we have the south node, or Ketu. And if we think of the sun as the Atman, or the great soul, and if we think of our own soul in relation to that, and we think of the moon as manas, or our sensory mind, or our consciousness, with the solar eclipse, what's happening is that sensory mind and that soul energy and the eclipse point are all coming together, and the sun gets hidden. So many times we can get lost in our emotions. And with this particular eclipse, there's definitely the propensity for that to happen as well. And in looking a little more deeply at it, some of the key words are idealism versus doubt. A sense of ideals, a way of looking at things, something that we'd like to have faith in, but there's a lingering doubt. And we feel like in order to deal with that lingering doubt, we're having to kind of put our emotions all to one side. Either that, or we're kind of having to bolster this false sense of confidence. And inside there's this lingering doubt, or these lingering feelings that, I'm not good enough in relation to this, or I'm not clear enough, or I'm feeling really stupid, and I don't like feeling all these feelings, because it's also a feeling related one too, where one is dealing with doubt, one is dealing with, feelings that are frustrated because one is trying to see something clearly so that one can, for lack of a better way to put it, close the case on a certain situation and potentially make a decision about an appropriate course of action. But one is not able to really find the right idea. And mixed in with that, we have our ideals, the things that we would like to see, the things that we really believe in. And mixed in with that, we're getting caught up in the nitty-gritty, nitpicking details of what those ideals are. And somewhere along the way, we're likely discovering that those ideals cannot be realized. So then that sense of doubt comes in again, and it goes, maybe there's something wrong with my ideals. Well, maybe there is. Maybe there's not too, though. And maybe there's something wrong in one area with your ideals, and maybe there's something completely right in another area with your ideals. And this eclipse is likely going to bring you into very deep contact or maybe even confrontation with that particular point. Mixed in with that, there's all these feelings of intensity. Those feelings of doubt, they get elevated. Those feelings of fear of going into one's heart, right? Those also get elevated. Those feelings of, imperfection or insecurity, they also get elevated. Why is that happening? Well, this particular eclipse is taking place in Purva Bhadrapada. Purva Bhadrapada is an Artha-driven nakshatra. It's very goal-directed. And what it gives is the power of elevation. It elevates everything that it comes into contact with. If we've got a very well-supported Jupiter in the sky, then what can happen is that elevation can actually, in many ways turn into inspiration and inspire us in the appropriate direction. When we don't have a very well-supported Jupiter, then many times what we can have is a sense of frustration, a sense of bother, a sense of insecurity, whatever is involved and in Purva Bhadrapada, that gets elevated, right? And over the course of the week, one can stand the propensity to get into a fog over what one really should do. One's not able to see clearly, but yet inside of yourself, you're going, I need to have this sense of confidence. I need to know. I need to know what I need to do. So, I'm kind of tempted to just kind of fake this sense of confidence and just, plow forward and believe in myself. And yeah, sure, you need to have a sense of confidence, right? But if you're getting frustrated, and if you're feeling insecure, and if you're not able to see clearly what it is that you should do you really have a sense of confidence, right? And mixed in with that, there are all these aspects that are going on in relation to the eclipse, aspects between Jupiter and the sun and the moon, because an eclipse, a solar eclipse, takes place on a new moon. So both the sun and the moon will be in close contact, close aspect to Jupiter. Equally, they're going to be in close aspect to Saturn, right? And Jupiter and Saturn are also aspecting each other in the sky. This is where you can make Jupiter and Saturn work in your favor. The thing is you're not able to see clearly as much as you would like to be able to see clearly, right? It's probably going to take, a good amount of time, maybe even after the lunar eclipse a couple of weeks later, which is, I believe, I'll have to get back to you with that date, on the 24th, but don't worry because I'm going to be doing a video on the lunar eclipse soon too, probably a few short days after this one. Probably it will take at least up until the lunar eclipse for that to be clearer, maybe a little bit before. But what you can do is use that Saturnian energy in your favor. Most of us don't like Saturn, but Saturn can be your friend. Saturn can give you discipline. Saturn can give you restraint. And most importantly, in association with this particular eclipse, it can give you patience, right? It can give you the capacity to see things in the right relationship, to see things clearly. There's a separating aspect as all of this is going on from Mars to several other planets, Mercury being one of them. There's an applying aspect between Mars and Venus. And Mars is in Anuradha Nakshatra. And Anuradha Nakshatra is supported by a very strong Saturn. And Anuradha, at the heart of it, is about having the right relationship to something, right? So with that strong Saturn, you can have the right relationship with something if you give things time. If you feel like you have to take action right now, you're not going to have that right relationship. So your best advice is to wait a little bit. Wait for that little piece of information, even though you feel frustrated, even though you feel like, you know what, I've got these beliefs, these thoughts, these ideals, and I really have to follow them and I have to see them, held righteous. Well, if a belief is righteous, it doesn't, maybe it doesn't need your defending, right? If a belief is righteous, it will stand on its own. If a belief is righteous, even if you're confused, even if you're in doubt, it will still be there and it will be solid and it will survive this process, and doubt will fade to the background. right? And clarity and deep perception and strength will eventually unfold. But you've just got to give things time, because right now you're just dealing with the confusion, you're dealing with the doubt, and you're dealing with the frustration that's involved with all of those things. Again, some things in the background, a lingering sense of imperfection, hard to go into your heart, because going into your heart means, confronting a lot of pain, and that gets elevated. Not being able to see things clearly, that's just adding to the frustration. But sometimes things are just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter of time. This eclipse will affect each person in a different area of their life, dependent upon where the eclipse happens to fall for them. So that's important. If you know your own chart, you can take a look at that. I would say you can schedule a consultation with me too, but I don't have any spaces available between now and the eclipse, just so you know. So earliest availability for me is at this point in April, but you're still welcome to schedule with me. And as a matter of fact, the link is below to my astrological consultations page. And you can look at the eclipse in retrospect too, because back to eclipses, the important thing with eclipses is they act as a threshold, a gateway. And if you're able to follow the guidance of what that gateway is about for you individually, between now and the 24th of this month, there's the capacity to really make some profound changes in your life. And those changes will grow and will deepen in strength between now and the next set of eclipses, which will be about 6 months from now. We're talking probably in October. Don't have those dates in front of me, right? But it's about 6 months between the eclipses. And there are 2 sets of eclipses a year. So use this time wisely. Best way to use this time wisely is to give things time. So again, if you wish to schedule with me, my astrological consultations page, the link to that is below. I can schedule something in for you in April, which isn't too far away. It's only a month away. So please visit the astrological consultations page if you're interested in scheduling. That's going to do it for a look at the eclipse, the solar eclipse of the 9th of March, 2016. Until next time, please take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.